The following episode may, and most likely does, contain spoilers, foul language, and my Netflix password. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of the Not Mike, Not Pat Mecha episode. I am not Mike.
I'm not Pat.
And we are going to jump right into the meat of it. We promised you that in the last episode. We're not going to beat around the bush this one. We're going to stay maybe on topic. Who knows? Maybe.
Make zero promises.
Yeah. All right. Now there is one promise I did make to you at the end of the last episode. And right off the bat, I'm going to tell you. And it could be wrong because I didn't fact check any of this, but I heard it and it sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
You ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready for this.
Mobile Suit Gundam. Okay.
Mobile Suit Gundam.
Originally was going to be called Gunboy. They changed that. They didn't like that. They changed it to Gun-Wielding Freedom Fighter. They also did not like that. They said it sounded better than Gunboy, but it was way too long of a title to put out there, so they shortened it. So they took the word gun and they took dumb from freedom and they combined it to get the Gundam. So they looked at it and they said, it still doesn't really look right. So they took the O out and they replaced it with an A. So now you have the word damn in there, as in I'm going to be holding back the enemies with my wall of guns. Gun damn.
That
Believe it or don't believe it.
I want to believe it because it sounds awesome. That sounds amazing. My only rebuttal to this is
Nothing.
not a lot of guns in Gundam.
The original one.
Not really.
Sure it is. Then why would they call it Gunboy?
The only person who wields a gun, like, consistently in the original Mobile Suit Gundam is Char Aznavour. He has a little...
The main character?
No.
Second main character?
Amuro is the main character.
But
Char is definitely
but
the
Chew
counter.
on My Balls is the counter.
Chew on my balls. That sounds awesome, and I like the idea because it makes sense. But, like, did they give it any more forethought after that when they barely have any guns in Gundam?
Doesn't sound like it, does it?
No.
Once again, everyone, I will remind you I did a whole 4 hours of research on all of this.
Right.
And that is a fact that I just stumbled upon. So, believe it, don't believe it. It's out there now. It's in the ether.
It's in the ether. So, it all starts technically with Gundam Origins, with the story of Char Aznavour and Sayla, and how they eventually were the original daughters of it's gonna kill I can't remember his name right now. Really erratic looking dude.
George Gundam.
But things happen, yada yada yada, and then we get to where we are with Amuro Ray. Amuro Ray, while escaping onto White Base, which was a military base that was being built on his colony spaceship, on his colony, he winds up seeing his father trying to help evacuate this Mobile Suit Gundam that we now know is called Gundam. Like, it is Gundam. It is the
Mobile
Gundam.
Suit Gundam.
It is the godfather of all Gundams.
It's the MSG that doesn't taste good.
Yeah, it is literally the Mobile Suit Gundam. And so he winds up finding it. He finds the notebook on how to pilot it. He gets into it, and he understands that he has to get it onto White Base. While on the pursuit of getting onto White Base, he starts piloting it. The White Base is like, hey, we need you to stay in this suit. Like, you're the only one who knows how to pilot this. And it's like, I know just as much as you. I just know how to read an instruction guide. Right? Like, so he has to pilot it. He winds up, like, killing a couple people. And starts his long journey into PTSD, right? There are a lot of moments in the series where you're just, like, yelling at him because he doesn't want to pilot it because he's tired of killing. And it's like, dude, if you don't pilot it, we all die. And that's the thing that you have to, like, relate with him is, like, he is just a 14-year-old boy thrust into war.
Mm-hmm.
And so is everybody else in the story, but it's like, like, dude, this sucks. Then it starts into the whole, like, new type argument, because the whole idea of the reason why the Zeon forces were trying to separate was because there was this theory that while living in space, mankind was going to evolve because they were being bombarded by space rays and stuff like that. So it would
manta rays.
Yeah, manta rays.
Manta rays.
Manta rays.
It's Steve Irwin's of space.
Oh Jesus! Too soon. So he eventually he does evolve into what's called a new type, and then so there's this whole moment in the movie where they kind of have this trippy psychedelic mind link with Char Aznavour and Sayla and I can't remember her name. She was in my ship when we were talking about Valentine's Day. Char also has his love interest, which is this girl right here.
Oh, she's kind of cute.
Yeah, she is cute.
Yeah.
And they have this whole trippy thing, and it's the evolving of the new types, and so the war happens. All the main big guys die in Mobile Suit Gundam.
Oh, spoilers.
Yeah. Sorry. The bad guys die.
The bad guys die.
And it leads to Mobile Suit Zeta?
Yes.
Yes.
Which takes place, I believe, 7 years after.
7 years after
Mobile Suit Gundam.
Yeah. Which is weird because then you can't. You then have to go to Zeta Gundam, but without talking about the 8 in-betweens. Because what I
like... Which they got massive pushback because the Gundams portrayed in those in-betweens are more futuristic and more advanced than what is shown in Zeta, which made a lot of fans very angry.
Yes, because
the art was also dramatically different.
Take 08th MS Team alone, right? That was done in the 90s, and the animation was it was around the same quality of animation style as Gundam Wing.
Right.
Just this really hyper beautiful cell shading, not cell shading, but just I don't know what the technical term for it is. I'm not an artist, but beautiful
coloring.
Yeah, just coloring, shading.
Which I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't even be mad at animators for doing that.
Yeah,
wanting to be all right, well, I'm gonna animate this thing here and just make it so much better. It's kind of like when Star Wars did Rogue One.
Yeah,
that movie would have not had the impact it did if they went back and just literally shot it the exact same way they did New Hope. Right. And I mean, granted, they tried to capture a lot of that by using the Muppets again and all that stuff, but obviously it's 40 years later, 50 years later. Things are going to be better.
Yeah.
Right.
It's yeah. It is completely different. There's a couple the 08th MS the Stardust Memory, 0083 and stuff like that. That are all shot in that same time. Some of the art is kind of reminiscent of MS of Mobile Suit Gundam. We just had another movie, Kurakazan Island, that just dropped, which takes place. It's an event that takes place during the original Mobile Suit Gundam, and Amuro Ray is in it as well. It gets very convoluted when you're in that time frame before Zeta Gundam, which pisses off a lot of people, but also. It depends, because I heavily follow r/Gundam and r/Gunpla, and there were just so many people that were super excited about this movie that just came out.
Fun facts for all you listeners: Gunpla is the plastic that Gundam model kits are made out of.
Yeah, it is a special plastic.
It's a special plastic specifically made for Gundam model kits.
Because it also is touched on in Gundam Build as well.
Yes, which is a much later series that was developed, which involves, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kids basically building model kits and fighting them against each other.
Yep.
And this was meant to try and compete with the whole Yu-Gi-Oh! And Beyblades and everything like that, where it's build your own thing and let it rip.
Gundam Build Driver is fantastic. It is a fantastic series, and I would welcome anybody who watches Gundam to watch it, because there's so many little Easter eggs in it. For example, one of my favorite moments in it is there is a giant tournament, the Gundam Build Fighter. Did I say drivers? Gundam Build Fighter championship match, right? And so in this universe, Gundam Build Fighters is treated like Yu-Gi-Oh, where everyone plays Duel Monsters.
Right.
So, all the family and friends, they come together for this tournament and stuff like that, and they have like what's called like family day at the tournament, during the tournament.
Okay.
Where they invite all the families to come together and like, just have fun, come build a Gundam with your child and stuff like that, right? While this event is happening, there's so many like little Easter eggs. One of my favorite is there is a Easter egg of Domo and Kashu from G Gundam as a kid with his older brother and his mom and dad, and they're just having a good family outing while Domon's building, I think, Shadow Gundam. I think that's the Gundam he's building, which is the Gundam that his brother pilots in G Gundam. Then there's another instance where you see Char Aznable with, again, this girl.
Mm-hmm. The one we talked about earlier.
The one we talked about earlier. It's them on a date, which they never got to really have. So
Aww.
He brings her ice cream.
Wraps it all up.
It's so... There's so many cute moments like that. If you don't know Gundam, like, you won't be able to spot them. Because, again, it's a world where Gundam doesn't exist. I mean, Gundam exists as an anime. Like, it's an anime to them.
Okay.
Like they cosplay as like characters from the Gundam anime and stuff like that.
It's kind of like that Mega Man show that was on WB.
The Battle Network?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where like Mega Man was like a show to them and all that stuff, but then they had like the cards that they could
right.
insert to build their people, and
it was it's like it's a separate universe that exists. It's like if the toy manufacturers like actually like had a shit ton of money to like make pilotable Gundams and stuff like that, like 50 80 years from now,
right
like, we're gonna make it so that you can pilot Gundam Barbados and fight him against Devil Gundam.
That'd be pretty dope.
That'd be pretty dope. But
while we are on the subject of making Gundams though, like actually pilotable, we do need to talk about the 1:1 to scale Gundam that was in, I believe, Kyoto.
I think so. It is a holy weapon, I'll have you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was blessed by a Shinto priest.
Was it really?
Yeah, so Excalibur, Mobile Suit
Gundam. And it's actually sitting in front of, I believe, the biggest Gunpla museum in the town, which I'm going to say is Kyoto, and probably right here it's going to either say wrong or not.
Yeah. I think you're wrong.
I think I'm wrong.
I think you're wrong.
It's probably a place that I don't even know.
Right.
And then also one other thing I want to touch on, which might be the most epic Gundam thing I've ever seen. Did you ever see the movie Ready Player One?
Yes.
Remember at the end when they're having that giant war and the one guy's like, he's like, I've traded in all my points for this. This was like a special tournament winning thing. And he just drops the fucking Gundam in the middle of the army.
It's so beautiful.
Amazing.
I remember watching that movie and just being like, okay, all right, cool. A lot of nerdy things. And like when that sequence happened, I was like one of like three other guys in like the movie theater that was just like, oh my God. Yes.
It's like, this is what I want.
This is all I would care for. If I was in the scenario, I would do the same thing.
And now something that was mentioned to me in my research. So the original Gundam series, we talked a little bit before, where that's like a 43 episode series. Yes. That has then been split up into three different movies. That are each, I think, like an hour and a half long. So it's like a total of 6 hours worth of stuff. Which
Soldier of Fortune and something else.
Something else. Well, the first one's just called Mobile Suit Gundam.
It's Mobile
and
Suit
then
Gundam,
it's
and then
Soldiers of Fortune and something else.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. So you can watch those three movies.
And it tells the entirety
in place of Mobile Suit Gundam.
Yep.
Zeta did the same thing. They released a movie afterwards which summed up the entire second season.
Yes.
But with a different ending. So the TV show has a very sad ending, while the movie gave the main character the ending that everyone thought he should have deserved.
Then there's all the intro universes. Gundam Wing has its own universe, has its own mangas as well. Gundam 00, which is my personal favorite, and that's where I get flack for liking 00 because that's like considered what's the word I'm looking for?
Like redheaded stepchild.
Yeah, it's like the one where everyone's like, oh, not true Gundam people. Like they like this one instead. That's their favorite. What I like about Gundam 00 is that takes what a lot of people don't like about Gundam and makes it easy. So what people don't like about like Gundam Wing and Gundam Mobile Suit Gundam, Zeta Gundam, Crossbones, Thunderbolt. I'm just naming Gundams at this point. I'm just flexing.
Witch and Mercury.
Witch from Mercury.
Dookie
Gundam,
Bot 3000.
Iron Blooded
Bender.
Orphans. But what a lot of people don't like about Gundam is the Federation versus Zeon versus Rebel forces, right? Mm-hmm. So like Zeon's bad, right? Zeon is just space Nazis, all right? So they're just bad. But you know, like Mobile Suit Gundam, there's the Federation, the Zeon forces, and the Rebel forces, and the Federation did this and they're bad, but the Zeons did this, but they're bad, but the Rebel forces they did this, but they're bad.
Now, didn't they flip the switch at one point, or flip the script? Then I remember reading that whoever was the good guy in the original series then got too proud of themselves and became the bad guys of the following season.
Yeah, Amuro
and they needed to make like the extra, Neo-Earthians.
It becomes convoluted politically. Like it just has a lot of geopolitics that just like it confuses a lot of people, right? And I get it. Like trying to explain the Universal Century timeline is just impossible, right? There's someone in the comment that says, well, actually, it's not. Well, it is. All right, it's Kingdom Hearts. It's the Kingdom Hearts. It's the Kingdom Hearts storyline. It's just a lot of just this and that and maneuvering things around. It's fantastic, and if I had 3 hours, I could explain it all. But
join us next week for part 3.
Part 3. But what I like about Gundam 00 is that it just gets rid of all that, right? So it's set far in the future. Earth built these giant towers that stretch up into the sky, and they built these solar panels to like tap into solar energy, right? So the idea is that like now we have unlimited energy. The sun is burning, so that's good. We're going to tap into that, and everyone in the world has access to this unlimited energy. So fossil fuels should be a thing of the past, right?
Okay.
So one of the main reasons why war happens is because of supplies,
right?
Oil and all that other stuff. And so the idea is, why is there still war? Like, you guys have access to the stuff now. Why are you still fighting and killing each other?
What are you even fighting for?
What are you fighting? Yeah, it becomes like this thing where just like it's stupid. Like, one of the main reasons why people are fighting is gone. Why are we still fighting? So there's 3 major forces in this world, and they're all still fighting with each other, and they're still building these weapons, mobile suits of mass destruction that for fighting wars and stuff like that. In comes Celestial Being. Celestial Being shows up and they say, all right, we're tired of war. If you instigate war, if you rebuttal, like anything, like if war is happening, we're coming down and we're just wiping out both sides, right? Like if you guys start doing fights and battles, we're going to come in and we're going to beat up both sides. There's nothing you can do about it.
So naturally, the human race goes, fuck you, I'm going to fight you.
Fuck you, I'm going to fight you, right? So they start, like, they kind of, like, do the whole, like, we're now the main enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they do what's called armed, armed interventions was the...
Armed interventions.
Armed interventions. I literally thought about it too much.
Just all your friends pull you in, they're like, hey, man. Right. You have way too many arms.
Yeah, too many.
Too many arms. You need to calm this down.
Yeah, so Gundam 00 is literally just Celestial Being versus everybody else, and that's literally the whole story. And that's why it's great. It doesn't really require...
Just simplifies it.
It really it's a simplified Gundam. Mm-hmm. I always tell people, if you want to give Gundam a shot, Gundam 00 and G Gundam, because they're just 2 simple, like, fun Gundams to get into. And then if you want to like go deeper, get into Iron Blooded Orphans, then go into Witch from Mercury, which is just started, but that's also fantastic. And then start going down into the rabbit hole, and then once you are like fully invested, then start the Gundam Origins, Gundam Mobile Suit Gundam.
Because I mean, on the bright side, you only have 40 years worth of media to catch up on.
Yeah, it's only 40 years,
and I mean that's just the animated stuff. Like there's
just...
also the books, and then there's the manga. The manga.
There are multiple light novels.
So yeah, you could just from now until 2025. You could just be watching new Gundam stuff or reading new Gundam stuff, or,
it's a lot.
Depending on your mental capabilities, maybe till 2030.
So Gundam is a lot to take in. I've literally been just talking about it for like 40 minutes straight, 30 minutes straight now.
We have to cut you off because there
we
are
have to talk
other
about Zoids.
mechs to talk about.
Sorry.
So there's Zoids. Zoids was like the OG toy.
I don't know Zoids as well as I know Gundam. I'm pretty sure that Zoids is, and I again could be completely wrong. I think Zoids is set in its own like constantly different universes.
Okay.
So like I remember, I might be wrong on the name here because I've only watched, I've watched at least 4 or 5 different Zoid series. But there was Zoids Chaotic Sentry, which had Big Cloud. That was it was like G Gundam. It was literally just G Gundam of Zoids again. It was these battles and
Chaotic Sentry. I actually believe is season 1 of Zoids in Japan.
Was it really?
Yeah, because the Zoids that was released here in America was actually season 3.
Dope.
If you want to say that, yeah.
So it had Big Cloud, and he pilots the Liger Zero, and the Liger is temperamental and all that stuff, and then eventually as the series goes on it has 3 different forms. I know there was the Liger Jaeger, and I can't remember the other 2. There was a blue one that was really fast, an orange one that was like versatile, kind of like still fast but had like sharper like slasher weapons, and then there was the tank one where like it would put on this like heavy green armor, and it would like do like 2 or 3 4 steps and then shoot off a bunch of missiles, and then it would just shake off the armor and then go do its thing.
Dope.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. I remember watching that one because that one came on Toonami.
Okay.
And then New Century and all that other stuff came out after, because like that one took off. That one like people were like, yeah, this is awesome, this is fun. And then they came out with a New Century, which had like a different spin where like the Zoids were like alive. They were like living.
And I think
creatures.
That's the one that I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was the one where the people were just like
they just like dumbed it down way too much, made it more of a kid show than it needed to be.
Then there was, oh man, I can't remember the name of the other 2. But yeah, Zoids is fantastic. I actually, my first model kit ever was a Zoid.
Was it?
Was a Liger Zero.
No
was
kidding.
the very first one, because at the time, and still to this day, there just are not G Gundam model kits, and the only Gundam I liked was G Gundam. So, I mean, I finally bought this one. First time I ever bought any G Gundam model kit was, 4 years ago. Like they just started coming out with the Burning Gundam model kit, which is like a $300 kit, and I really want it because it's beautiful. But I know for a fact
that's a car payment.
It's a car payment.
Yeah.
Also, I know I don't have the skills to do it justice.
Oh, what do you need, like a welder or something like that?
Oh man, like I like that you talk about like getting into Gundam like model kit building, but there's like a lot more to it than just clipping it out. So you gotta like clip it out, then you gotta like cut it off and then sand it,
lick it, and then sacrifice a goat to the Gundam god, and then
there's a lot more than just saying like pop, clip, done.
Yeah. No, I found that out trying to do the Digimon model kits, because I don't get the scissors or the tweezers or anything like that. I'm like, I'm just going to twist this until it comes off. So, all of mine have those nice pointy things everywhere. And that's if the piece came off without snapping in half. Right. So,
yeah, because you put a War Greymon together, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I've done.
Did you stab your finger on those horns?
All the time.
Yeah, dude, I like that thing. That thing was sharp.
Yeah. What have I've done the War Greymon. I've done. Who's the other one? The big shield god. the guy with the shield, studio audience, guy with the shield and the lance.
Oh,
no, the red dinosaur thing.
Paildramon?
No, not Paildramon. That's
Because you have the attack form Paildramon, Metal Garurumon, Wargreymon.
The red knight looking guy with the ponytail. He had a big shield and a lance.
Paladimon or something?
It's something like that.
Yeah.
It's what, not Tamers, the one after that.
Yeah.
It's the one where they were in the real world and there was the rabbit.
Renamon.
Sure. And the fox girl thing.
That was season 3.
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah. If you get into Gundams, if you get into mechs, there are just model kits. There's a multiple Lancelots for Code Geass. There's Big O Gundam model kit, Big O model kits, Gundam, Zoids, but they're expensive.
Yeah.
They're expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, the ones you want from Zoids are apparently between $500 and $1,000.
Like $500 to $1,000. But other than that, I don't know if there's really much. I mean, there's plenty.
There's a model kit out there for everything. Like if
there's
you
a model
want
kit for
one,
everything.
it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, I even saw like the Always Sunny from One Piece as a model kit.
What did he say?
Saw like the Always Sunny.
Yeah.
And like I don't watch One Piece, and I almost got that because I was like, that's kind of dope. But
you could say, Dan.
The Always Sunny.
yeah, the one that's in Philadelphia.
The 1000 Sunny.
No, the Always
they
Sunny.
Actually, I almost bought a.
It has Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito.
It's just this giant head.
The headpiece.
Yeah, with the rum ham.
Oh my god. The
And the birds of prey are on top of it.
I almost bought the Shanks's boat. He has a model kit as well for Shanks's pirate. I forget what it is like.
It's called like the Red Lion.
The Red Line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost bought that one at Katsucon. Yeah. Mechas are fantastic. They're definitely worth watching. You know, if you are off put by all the geopolitics and all that stuff, there are mechas out there that cut to the fun of it all. G Gundam, Gurren Lagann, Gundam 00, Zoids Chaotic Century, I think it's Chaotic Century. Those 4 alone are just like fun, separate, just have like wild story time.
Mm-hmm.
Darling in the Franxx.
Yes.
Yes.
And they're all quick burns.
Yeah, they're all quick burns.
They're all quick burns under 50 episodes for the series.
Right, and they don't like. What I like about certain mechs versus others is that the story, like, it's like Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story, and then if you're lucky, at the end of the episode, you get a cool Gundam robot fight.
Yeah, you get a cool fight.
Yeah, it's like story, and robot fight.
Now, something else we do need to touch on before we get out of here, because it's going to take a second to talk about, is Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes.
Because that is another mech that doesn't really fall in the political aspect, but definitely doesn't fall in the fun, enjoyable aspect.
That is...
This is a psychological, I hate my life.
Everybody's got PTSD.
Right. Like, it's just like the original Gundam from the way you described it. You know, it's little kids forced to fight in this war that they don't really know anything about or want to be a part of, and just crying and hanging out with penguins and jerking it to their mom figure.
Yeah.
Like...
Amuro is definitely way better than Shinji ever will be, because Shinji is like a hot garbage character.
Yeah.
But
he's a piece of shit at best.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Neon Genesis Evangelion, if we're talking like mechas, like it is the it's like the black sheep of the mecha universe. Mm-hmm. Like,
one of my favorite things about that too is the creator who was making it had no idea where he was going with the series. No. So he was just spitballing. Like,
oh yeah, that's why
like every episode or every chapter or whatever, he was just like, sure, we can do that this time.
I need to finally watch, you know, I have off tomorrow, so I might actually just sit down and watch 1.11, 2.22, and 3.33, because like from our mutual friend, she loves Neon Genesis Evangelion, right? And like, respect, because it is definitely like, if you were to pick a favorite anime, I can stand by people who say like NGE is like their favorite anime.
Yeah,
because it is.
Oh,
fantastic.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Now you are just going to be psychologically fucked up after watching it.
Yeah, maybe for at least a week.
At least a week.
At least a week.
At least a week.
I'd say at least a week.
But yeah.
So my understanding though is like that you have the original series, which just kind of ended because he like fizzled out, and he's like, I need a way to finish this.
Right.
And then the fans are like, we need you to bring this back.
Yeah.
So he was like, all right, well now I'm actually going to sit down and think of a storyline that I would actually like, that I think the fans are going to like. And that's why like 1.1 and 1.2 came out, because that's like different. Is that the correct understanding? Or
Yeah. So the original anime came out, and then he was kind of like and made Neon Genesis Evangelion The End, which is the first movie ever, and critically hated.
okay.
It just bad. And I don't know the full story. I think it had a lot to do with budget cuts.
Okay. Which one had Asuka and an eye patch?
I think that's at the end.
Okay.
It's been a while since I watched Neon Genesis. I was going to watch it on Netflix when it came out for Netflix, but like people like burned it like in a day, and they were like, "Oh, the Netflix version, they cut out this," and I was like, "Okay, so don't
watch it."
this. Right. So it's been a minute. I think it's the final movie. The end is like where you see Asuka in the eye patch, and where she gets the spear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She gets the pokening.
Yeah, she gets the double donut.
Yeah, she turns into a little bit of a porcupine.
So then that was like a long time ago. That was back in like the 90s, early 2000s. I think that movie came out, and then he sat on it, and eventually he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right. I got the money. I got the finances, and that's what 1.11 and 3.33, like all those came out. And I haven't watched them, so I'll have to watch them, and maybe next time I could just pepper it into one of our episodes. Just be like, hey, by the way, I watched it. And
right. When we finally do the episode where it's like, this is the ones that screwed us up.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my god, dude! I could talk about animes that
we'll get there. We're gonna get there. It's okay. So, I'll bring my shirt that has the pillow on the shoulder for you to lean on.
All right, I appreciate it.
We're here for each other.
I'm like too far away though.
I know. We can't even high five.
I know. But yeah, other than that, if we're talking about mechas, I mean, there's just a lot. There's a lot out there. There's plenty. Gridmon, Dynasamon, Big O, Gurren Lagann, Code Geass, Gundam, like all the Gundams. Darling in the Franxx, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah, and then, I mean, there's even like randoms that have like one-off,
right?
You know, mech soldiers in it. Like, you know, even Dandadan now has a girl who pilots a kaiju.
I forgot. I need to. All right.
You need to read that.
Tonight, I'm gonna read Dandadan.
You need to burn through Dandadan.
I'm gonna burn through that. It's like 90
80 chapters, 90
right.
chapters.
Burn through that.
It's about to get real good.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yep.
That's my goal for the
And then Shangri-La Frontier, even that has a little mech thing in it.
I'm like kind of getting through that one.
It holds my attention.
I know. It's good.
Yeah, it's like a Sword Art Online that jumps to different games.
There's so many chapters though, so I burn like 15 and then I'll take a break.
See, that one's fun because it drops like 3 chapters a week.
It does.
It's so nice.
There.
But if you watch these 2 episodes and you are like yelling at your screen or into your headphones saying like, I can't believe you missed out on this mech, you didn't even talk about that.
So many.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Maybe we haven't even heard of it, and you could be giving us our next favorite anime.
Yeah.
You know, just let us know, and hell, if it's good enough, we'll do like a reaction to it, and we'll give you a shout out or something.
Oh yeah. I'm down with that. I'm always down with watching more mechas. Always.
Yeah, and I'm just looking for anything to watch right now because I got 30 years of anime to catch up on too. Yeah, dude. I'm like a little newborn baby coming out of my Anna womb, and I want to experience the world.
Nice.
I made cringe faces.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I guess that'll be it for us today. We are pretty good on mechas today.
Yep. And I'm still not Mike, so everything checks out.
I'm still not Pat. Nothing changed since this episode.
Nope.
No.
Till next time, guys.
Take it easy, guys.
If you like that episode, you can follow us on all of our social media, Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, or TikTok at Not Mike, Not Pat.
If that's not your cup of tea, you can also follow us on Twitter at NotMike_NotPat. Or, if you want to, we'll be doing our live streams of animes and video games at our Twitch channel at Not Mike, Not Pat as well.
You should be watching.